Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Pointless Top 10, a show where we make top 10 lists of pointless things while we're flying by his pointless statue of Booty Bay, because inside pointless things are treasure. Let's begin. 10. Number 10 is Rogvar, and Rogvar is an orc alchemy trainer located in Stonard in the Swamp of Sorrows. And for the most part, Rogvar is just a standard orc alchemy trainer, right? He's here, he's teaching you alchemy, especially in classic World of Warcraft, where he says, "War Chief Thrall himself asked me to come out here. I was honored to obey, and it's no hardship. I couldn't have asked for a better posting than Stonard. Just about any herb I might need grows in the muck here." But then, when Burning Crusade hits, Cersei Dusksinger, a Blood Elf quest giver, shows up at Stonard and kind of takes over everything. In fact, she's got a pretty messed up quest where she wants you to go feed this fel-tainted food to the Lost One's captured livestock so that when they eat their livestock that they've captured, they become corrupted with fel energy. But anyway, Rogvar hates this. He's talking to his friends and he's like, "Her methods are cowardly. She reminds me of the Forsaken Apothecary," when they have this big dialogue. And then Cersei walks over to them and she's like, "Oh, you got something to say? Say it to my face." And then they don't say anything and she's like, "Yeah, I didn't think so," and walks back. And then Rogvar just says to himself, "Remember how quiet it was before the elves came here? I missed that." And then he also tells the other blood elf here to be quiet. Like, he's just... Dude, he loved going here. He's like, "There's so many cool plants. This place is awesome." And then it got ruined by the elves. And so I just feel bad for him. And so that's why Rogvar is number 10. 9. Number 9 is Kolmar Sunrunner, a Wildhammer dwarf located at the Wingrest Embassy in the Waking Shores, and Forge Master Zakal, located at the Terrace of Crafters in Dazara Lore. And you might be wondering why I put them together here, and it's because both of them are really cool blacksmithing trainers, but they don't really have anything crazy about them, right? I just think they're cool. So you have Forge Master Zakal, who's got these two massive hammers, and he says, "Impressed with me dual hammer technique. It be taking a lot of practice to swing the hammers this way." Which is honestly pretty sick. The fact that he's just blacksmithing with these two giant hammers. And then you've got Kolmar, who is just like, "I never worked with a metal quite like this before. It's incredible." And he keeps holding it up to the sky like he's got a trophy or something, and he starts hammering away at it. And I don't know how he's not burning himself, because it looks like there's little bits of ember and fire and metal just going all over him, but he's just resistant. So I don't know if he's built up a tolerance or something. Although I don't think it's actually possible to build up a tolerance to fire and sparks hitting your skin. But you know what? We're in a fantasy universe and he's a dwarf, so maybe it is. But either way, that's why Kolmar Sunrunner and Forge Master Zakal are number 9. 8. Number 8 are a bunch of goblin profession trainers that had to relocate to Azshara following the construction of the Orgrimmar Embassy. And so you gotta feel bad for these goblins. Like, they used to just live in Orgrimmar in the little goblin area, and then they were just like, "Get out of here, we're building an embassy." And they're like, "Where are we gonna go?" And they're like, "We'll put you in Azshara, that should be good." And so if you talk to Nivi Weavewell, who used to be the tailoring trainer, if you couldn't have guessed, she says, "I've been downwardly promoted." And then Zarbo Pork Patty, the former cooking trainer, says, "My position has been eliminated. Feels like early retirement." Then there's a couple others that aren't actually profession trainers, but I'm including them anyway because they're funny. So you've got Bezel the stable master, who says, "I got the axe. See, I brought it with me." Pezek Lockfast, the former trade supplies vendor, says, "We're here as part of a workforce adjustment." And then there's Crank Choplim, who was the first aid trainer, and he still carries his axe around, even though he's a bandage trainer now, but I don't think he cares too much about bandages. But yeah, I think all these goblins are pretty funny, but it is pretty sad they had to lose their jobs and get moved over here, so that sucks for them. So that's why I decided to put them at number 8. 7. Number 7 is Stax, and I guess this is also kind of a 2-for-1, but in a different way, because it's still Stax, but we have Head Chef Stax. So Stax is a cookatron located in Rustbolt on Mechagon Island, and Head Chef Stax is located at the Wingrest Embassy in Waking Shores. And there's actually a few cookatrons throughout the game. There's Coggleston, Gusteau, Pierre, Waffle Joe, but none of them are actual cooking trainers. Only Stax is the cooking trainer. And so I guess people love Stax enough on Mechagon that they decided to bring him to the Dragon Isles and promote him to head chef. And he's like, "Head Chef Stax greets you with a hearty clang of an oven door and some enthusiastic spatula waving." Or at least you're pretty sure it's a greeting. And you're just like, "Can you teach me how to cook?" And then he teaches you how to cook. So, I mean, he does teach you how to cook. He knows how to do it. It's just weird that he's cooking on himself, which probably isn't a very common thing really anywhere. I also love that he's like all curled up as an actual cauldron, and then when you talk to him, that's when he springs open like, "Oh boy, time to cook." So I think he's great. I love Head Chef Stax, fantastic cooking trainer, and that's why He's number 7. 6. Number 6 is Silkmaster Sai, and Silkmaster Sai is a Pandaren tailoring trainer found in the Silken Fields in the Valley of the Four Winds. And when you talk to Silkmaster, he says, "Greetings, stranger. I am Silkmaster Sai. Welcome to the ancient Imperial Silk Farm. This farm dates back to some of the earliest dynasties of Pandaria, and each generation exceeds the last in quality of silk." And then he offers you a quest called Where Silk Comes From, and he's like, "Would you like to be a Silkmaster for a day?" And he tells you to go get some mulberry leaves, and you have to feed the hungry silkworm, and then you have to go get some raw silk from the processing hut on the south side of the farm, which I think is just him giving us all of his chores, but he's the silk master. He can do what he wants. Yeah, I just felt like putting him on the list because of like all the tailoring trainers in World of Warcraft. Like, this dude is the silk master. You know what I mean? Like, there's plenty of tailoring trainers where they're like pretty good at tailoring or they're good at other stuff, but this dude is the silk master. So I was like, I gotta put the silk master on the list, and that's why he's number 6. 5. Number 5 is Daroness the Learned, and Daroness is a high elf archaeology trainer located in Dalaran. And back in Wrath of the Lich King, Daroness was located in the Ledgerman Lounge in Dalaran, just chilling around, and she could teach you archaeology. But then, when Legion hit, she actually got an entire store called Things of the Past. And the actual shop is really cool. There's a bunch of artifacts all over the place, and she's trying to catalog everything and carrying books around and stuff. She really was the archaeology person. She even gave a bunch of quests for archaeology, and then archaeology went away. And so I feel bad because this is like her entire profession, right? And they gave her this entire store, and now none of it matters unless you're trying to, like, I don't know, go back and get a mount from archaeology or something like that, right? And so I just hope that one day, if they bring archaeology back or revamp it in some way, that they mainly go to Daroness the Learned as the head archaeology person, because I think she's earned it. And so that's why I put Daroness the Learned at number 5. 4. Number 4 is Oglethorpe Obnauticus, and Oglethorpe is an artisan gnomish engineering trainer located in Booty Bay in the Cape of Stranglethorn. But you probably know him best as being the guy that does all the mechanical chicken quests in classic World of Warcraft, where you find the mechanical chicken item and then it's like, go get the chicken and escort it to safety. That's this guy. And his name is actually a reference to the cartoon Aqua Teen Hunger Force, where one of its characters is an alien named Oglethorpe who consults a disco ball named Obnauticus for guidance. And Aqua Teen Hunger Force is also where I got the idea for my Taran's voice back in my old WoW machinimas, where I'd be like, "Hey everybody, it's me," and it's just my Meatwad voice. He also appeared in Battle for Azeroth on Mechagon, but I couldn't really find him there, but he was there at some point. He might be a daily quest or something, I don't know. It's also said that he was ostracized by the rulers of Gnomragon because they considered him an intellectual threat that caused him to leave Gnomragon, which is probably why he's in Booty Bay. But what really happened was Sicko Thermoplug stole his blueprints and created the Crowd Pummeler 960 and set it loose in Gnomragon, and the ruling council of gnomes banished Oglethorpe, believing him to be responsible. So yeah, this dude is like one of the greatest engineers in World of Warcraft, and he makes robot chickens, so that's why he's number 4. 3. Number 3 is Honora, and Honora is a human enchanting trainer located in Uldaman. And prior to patch 2.3, Honora was the only artisan enchanting trainer in Azeroth. But after patch 2.3, most cities now have artisan enchanting trainers, making her pretty much insignificant. But it was actually really cool. You had to kill a bunch of scorpions around her camp, and after you do that, that's when she'd show up being like, okay, it's safe to come out now. And so not only did Blizzard get rid of her purpose after this all happened, but in Dragonflight, in the revamped version of Uldaman, she's killed. She's dead. You can find her corpse in the hall just before Emberon with the spiders and other dead Explorer League members there behind where the mole machine appears. So they're just like, hey, you know what? She doesn't got a purpose anymore. She's dead. Dude, I don't know what it is. If you're involved at any point with like archaeology or the League of Explorers or something, like Daroness the Learned has to watch out. She might be next. Blizzard just like, I don't know. Maybe they killed her in the Dalaran crash. I forgot about that. Oh my God, dude. I need to find out. I might be onto some crazy conspiracies. But either way, I think Honora's really cool, and she just kind of lost her purpose and then got killed, which sucks. So you know what? That's why she's number 3. 2. Number 2 is Nami, or Nomi. I never knew which one it was, but Nami is a Pandaren cook, and since he was a young cub, he was eager to learn everything he could about cooking. Many folks who were passing by helped him along with a few words or advice or a recipe or two. He's encountered by players first as a boy in Pandaria, and some years later, he's now grown as a Pandaren and becomes the cook in Dalaran, but now he is in the Dragon Isles. And so I think everybody remembers Nami because he burns everything, right? They've even memed it. They're just like, Nami just sets everything on fire. Blizzard themselves have memed it up, and now you can talk to him in Valdrakken, and he says, "Hello, friend. I've come to the Dragon Isles with a hope in my heart to further hone my craft. From what I understand, many dragons tend to favor a style of cooking for which I share a certain affinity." And so when I was thinking of profession trainers, I was like, Nami has to be on this list. He's probably one of the most well-known profession trainers in World of Warcraft, just for not really cooking very well. But you know what? He's still known for that. And so that's why I put him at number 1. And number 1 is Conjurer Margos. And Margos is a fishing trainer located just outside Dalaran, or I guess kind of still in Dalaran, on a floating island surrounded by a bunch of animals and arcane creatures and stuff like that. And if you read the faction description, it says, once a student of the Kirin, Margos has turned to fishing to ease his stressful life. And this made me realize that this is the most Crendor-coded profession trainer in the game. Like, this dude just gave up on being a student of the Kirin. He's like, dude, I'm just gonna go fish on this floating island and make my own reputation and give out like a bunch of arcane lures and murloc bobbers and just fish rewards and Trashy the raccoon and Squeaky ducks. And he's just chilling, having a good time, being a magical fisherman and sharing the fun of it with you. And so I was like, this has to be number 1. And that's why Conjurer Margos is number 1. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of Pointless Top 10. If you want more Top 10s, you can check out best jobs in World of Warcraft, or you can check out the worst jobs in World of Warcraft, since they kind of tie into professions. Also, comment down below if there's a profession trainer you would have put on the list. You can also like the video, or don't. It's up to you. Okay? Okay. See you.